The concert will feature Merle Haggard, a former inmate of San Quentin prison, whom Mr. Reagan pardoned when he was governor of California.
9 years after his passing, country music legend Merle Haggard's legacy continues to resonate. Now, a revelation emerges, confirming long-held suspicions. He died 9 years ago. Now, a stunning truth has come to light, forever altering our perception of a musical icon, revealing a fascinating new dimension to his life and legacy, redefining the way we remember him. To understand the man behind the music, we must first look to his childhood, where the roots of his remarkable journey took hold. Early life and childhood. In the dusty town of Oildale, California, where the Great Depression cast a long shadow, a young Merle Haggard was born on April 6, 1937. His early life was a tumultuous ride, marked by the devastating loss of his father and a string of run-ins with the law. But before the storms of life descended, Merle's family had already weathered their share of hardships. Fleeing the ruins of their Oklahoma home, where a barn fire had left them reeling in 1934, James and Flossie Mae Haggard set their sights on California's promised land. With 2 young children in tow, they settled into a humble apartment in Bakersfield, where James found work on the Santa Fe Railroad. Fate, however, had other plans. A chance encounter with a kindly woman, who offered up a converted boxcar in nearby Oildale, became the unlikely catalyst for a new beginning. And so, Merle's father transformed the boxcar into a cozy home, where his youngest son Merle would take his first breaths, and the Haggard family would put down roots that would forever change the course of music history. Tragedy struck in 1946, when Merle Haggard's father succumbed to a brain hemorrhage, leaving a 9-year-old Merle shattered and lost. The wound of that loss would remain raw and unhealed for a lifetime, a defining moment that would shape the contours of his heart and art. As the family teetered on the brink of collapse, Merle's mother, Flossie Mae, stepped forward, taking on the role of bookkeeper to keep the family afloat. When Merle was 12, his older brother Lowell handed down his guitar, which he learned to play all on his own with the records he had at home, inspired by Bob Wills, Frizzell, Hank Williams, and the like. As his mother toiled away, trying to make ends meet, a young Merle Haggard was left to his own devices, and mischief became his constant companion. His mother made him spend a weekend in juvenile detention, which was meant to be a wake-up call, but instead, it only seemed to fuel his rebellious fire. By the age of 13, Merle was already racking up a rap sheet, stealing with abandon, and writing checks his body couldn't cash. And in 1950, his shoplifting spree finally caught up with him, landing him back in the detention center, a place that was starting to feel like a second home. It was clear, Merle Haggard was a wild Mustang, unbroken and unbridled, with a penchant for trouble and a taste for adventure. In 1951, Merle Haggard's restless spirit led him to embark on a wild adventure with his partner in crime, Bob Teague. The duo hit the open road, hopping freight trains and thumbing rides to their Texas home, living life on their own terms. But when they rolled back into town, they found themselves in a whole heap of trouble, accused of robbery and tossed in the slammer. Luckily, fate intervened, and the real culprits were caught, setting Merle and Bob free. But the experience barely left a scratch on Merle's rebellious heart. Later that year, he found himself back in the juvenile detention center, but this time, he wasn't sticking around. With Bob by his side, they busted out and hightailed it to Modesto, California, where Merle tried his hand at a string of rugged jobs, from driving potato trucks to slinging hash as a short-order cook, and even shooting oil wells. The thrill of the unknown was addictive, and Merle was hooked. Merle Haggard returned to Bakersfield in 1951. His rebellious streak flared up again, landing him in hot water for truancy and petty theft. He was sent to a juvenile detention center, but couldn't tame his wild ways. And after another daring escape, he found himself shipped off to the notorious Preston School of Industry, a maximum security facility that was the last stop before adult prison. But even those stern walls couldn't contain Merle's restless spirit for long. He was paroled after 15 months, only to land right back in the slammer for beating up a local kid during a botched burglary attempt. It seemed Merle was stuck in a vicious cycle of crime and punishment, with no clear escape route in sight. Merle Haggard's turbulent teens were a roller coaster of rebellion, marked by stints in juvenile detention, jail time, and a chance encounter with Lefty Frizzell that would inspire his passion for music. When Merle Haggard walked out of those prison gates, he was ready to trade in his troublemaking ways for a shot at stardom. A chance encounter with country music legend Lefty Frizzell would prove to be the catalyst. Backstage at Frizzell's concert, Merle and his buddy Bob Teague were singing along to the hits. But when Frizzell himself caught wind of Merle's soulful voice, he refused to take the stage until the young upstart had his moment in the spotlight. And so, Merle's impromptu performance stole the show, leaving the audience hungry for more. That night, a fire was lit beneath Merle's feet, and he knew music was his true calling. By day, he'd toil in the fields or on oil rigs, but by night, he'd transform into a honky-tonk hero, crooning and strumming his way into the hearts of everyone within earshot. Married at 20 in 1957, Merle's good behavior was short-lived as he attempted to rob the Bakersfield Roadhouse due to financial difficulties from his marriage, but was caught, arrested, and convicted. He was sent to the Bakersfield jail, and after an attempt to escape Merle Haggard's rebellious streak, he was landed in the notorious San Quentin prison on February 21, 1958, where he became just another number, a 45200. But behind those cold walls, Merle's personal demons raged on. The news that his wife was carrying another man's child cut deep, and he began to unravel. A string of failed prison jobs and a foiled escape plan with a fellow inmate, Rabbit Kendrick, left Merle at a crossroads. But he found a new vice in the unlikeliest of places, a prison gambling and moonshine racket with his cellmate. That is, until he got caught drunk and was tossed into solitary confinement for a week, where he met Carol Chessman, a death row inmate with a talent for writing. Meanwhile, Rabbit made his own break for freedom, but it ended in tragedy. He shot a cop and was brought back to San Quentin to face the ultimate punishment. Merle was left to ponder the consequences of his own actions and the true cost of his reckless ways. It was a wake-up call like no other, the tragic fate of Carol Chessman and the doomed escape of Rabbit. Kendrick shook Merle Haggard to his core. He realized it was time to turn his life around, and fast. With newfound determination, Merle tackled his education, earning a high school equivalency diploma and landing a steady job at the prison's textile plant. Music became his solace, and he found himself strumming alongside fellow inmates in the prison's country band. But it was the encounter with the man in black himself, Johnny Cash, that truly ignited Merle's passion for songwriting. Cash's 1958 concert at San Quentin, where he belted out Folsom Prison Blues, left an unforgettable mark on Merle's soul. Merle Haggard vividly recalled the day Johnny Cash electrified San Quentin's prison yard on New Year's Day, mesmerizing inmates with his raw talent and charisma. But what made it unforgettable for Merle was Cash's genuine compassion and connection with the prisoners. treating them like old friends rather than convicts. Merle admitted, "I wasn't a fan of his music before that. It seemed too slick, but he had us all eating out of the palm of his hand." That unforgettable encounter sowed the seeds of a lifelong friendship, with Merle and Johnny becoming thick as thieves. Years later, when Cash lay frail in his hospital bed, Merle snuck in wearing a doctor's coat, and when Cash asked him why he was there, Merle's response was pure heart. "I'm here because I love you, old friend." In that moment, their bond transcended music, speaking directly to the soul. Upon his release from San Quentin in 1960, Merle set his sights on forging a new path, one that would lead him straight to the heart of country music stardom. Merle Haggard's rebellious ways hit a dead end, but a newfound passion for country music ignited a transformation, fueling his rise from San Quentin inmate to legendary singer-songwriter. Turning the page, Merle's journey to country music stardom. Fresh out of San Quentin in 1960, Merle Haggard traded his prison blues for a shovel, digging ditches for his brother Lyle's electrical company. But the call of the stage was too strong, and soon he was crooning again, his voice soaring like a phoenix from the ashes. Tally Records took a chance on him, and Merle cut his first single, "Singing My Heart Out," backed by Skid Row. But it wasn't a success, with only 200 copies finding their way into the world. Yet Merle persevered, his passion for the Bakersfield sound driving him forward. This raw, rootsy style was the antidote to Nashville's slick production, and Merle was determined to make his mark. Fate intervened in 1962, when he opened for Wynn Stewart in Las Vegas and was blown away by "Sing a Sad Song." With Wynn's blessing, Merle recorded the song, and it shot him to national stardom in 1964, catapulting him to the forefront of the country music scene. In 1967, Merle Haggard struck gold with "I'm a Lonesome Fugitive," his first #1 single, penned by Liz and Casey Anderson. The song's themes of freedom and redemption resonated deeply with Merle, who had worn the label of convict 45,200 just years before. But the Andersons had no idea about Merle's troubled past when they presented him with the song, and Merle kept it locked away, like a ghost in his closet. Only those closest to him glimpsed the shadows that still haunted him. His then-wife and backup singer, Bonnie Owens, recalled a chilling moment when Merle's fears came flooding back. He was shrouded in darkness, his eyes clouded with a deep-seated dread. I asked him what was wrong, and he whispered, "I'm scared. Scared that someday I'll be up on that stage, and someone from my past will rise up from the crowd, point a finger and shout, 'You're just a fugitive. 45,200. What makes you think you can sing about freedom?'" Merle's demons still lingered, but his music was his salvation, a beacon of hope in the darkness. From San Quentin prisoner to country music icon, Merle Haggard's raw talent and rebellious spirit propelled him to stardom, leaving an unforgettable mark on the industry. Merle Haggard's prison past didn't define his career, nor did he make a splashy confession about it. Instead, he let his music speak for itself, and the truth slowly trickled out. Music journalist Daniel Cooper observes that Haggard's prison history wasn't even mentioned in a 1967 Music City News profile, but just a year later, it was talked about like an open secret. It's as if Merle's talent and artistry were the main events, and his prison roots were merely a footnote in his remarkable journey. By not making a fuss about his past, Merle kept the spotlight on his music, and his legacy shone all the brighter for it. In 1969, Merle Haggard and the Strangers unleashed "Okie from Muskogee," a foot-stomping anthem that captured the essence of heartland America, where patriotism runs deep, tradition reigns supreme, and rebellion is a distant rumble. The song's lyrics painted a picture of a bygone era where folks didn't get caught up in the counterculture craze, and authority was respected, not challenged. The song resonated all the way to the Oval Office, with President Richard Nixon penning a personal letter of praise to Haggard. The president's admiration didn't stop there. He invited Merle to perform at the White House not once, but multiple times, cementing Haggard's status as a musical ambassador for Middle America. Merle Haggard's creative well has run deep and wide, with a staggering 70 albums and 600 songs to his name, including 250 self-penned gems. His discography is dotted with iconic albums like The Fight Inside of Me in 1970, Someday We'll Look Back in 1971, If We Make It Through December in 1974, and A Working Man Can't Get Nowhere Today in 1977, a show of his storytelling prowess. In 1982, he teamed up with George Jones for the duet album A Taste of Yesterday's Wine, which spawned the hits Yesterday's Wine and CC Waterback. The following year, he joined forces with Willie Nelson for the critically acclaimed Pancho and Lefty, featuring the hauntingly beautiful title track, as well as the emotional ballads It's My Lazy Day, Half a Man, Reasons to Quit, and All the Soft Places to Fall. This collaborative masterpiece cemented Haggard's status as a country music legend. Merle Haggard's songwriting genius earned him a coveted spot in the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1977, solidifying his status as a masterful wordsmith. 17 years later, his impressive repertoire of 38 chart-topping hits paved the way for his induction into the Country Music Hall of Fame, a testament to his enduring impact on the genre. Although his creative output may have slowed over the years, Haggard made an epic comeback with critically acclaimed albums like If I Could Only Fly in 2000 and Haggard Like Never Before in 2003. And in a triumphant return to the top, his 2015 collaboration with Willie Nelson, Django, and Jimmy shot straight to #1 on the country music charts, proving that even in his later years, Haggard remained the gold standard of country music. In a last bow performance for the ages, Merle Haggard joined forces with Willie Nelson in the critically acclaimed documentary The American Epic Session in 2017, directed by Bernard McMahon. Together, they breathed new life into Haggard's original composition, The Only Man Wilder Than Me, and Bob Wills's timeless classic, Old-Fashioned Love. The twist? They recorded these gems live on a vintage sound system from the 1990s, once used by Haggard's musical idols. This iconic performance would be the last time the two legends shared the screen, with Rolling Stone noting, Haggard's face radiates pure joy throughout the session, a heartwarming testament to the power of music. With 38 #1 hits and a country music legacy cemented, Merle Haggard's personal life was a tangled web of love, heartache, and hard living, testing his iconic status. Love and heartache, Merle's journey through marriage and divorce. Merle Haggard's love life was a winding road, filled with twists and turns. Merle was married a total of 5 times and was divorced 4 times out of 5 in his lifetime. His first stop was Leona Hobbs at 19, his wife from 1956 to 1964, with whom he had 4 kids, Dana, Marty, Kelly, and Noel. Their love story was a powder keg, waiting to ignite into a blaze of chaos. Merle Haggard and Leona's union was a toxic tango, marred by intense conflicts, fights, and mutual abuse. Both were haunted by their pasts, Merle by his rebellious youth and Leona by the challenges of loving a man with a checkered past and a quick temper. The final blow came when Merle was behind bars at San Quentin, and Leona's pregnancy with another man's child dealt a devastating blow to his already fragile ego. As that relationship faded like a sunset on the horizon, he found love again with Bonnie Owens, a talented singer and former flame of Buck Owens. Their whirlwind romance in 1965 sparked a creative explosion, with Bonnie fueling Merle's rise to country stardom. She was his muse, his confidant, and his partner in every sense. Together, they penned the hit single, "Today I Started Loving You Again," a heartfelt ballad that captured the essence of their love. Bonnie was more than just a wife. She was a guardian angel to Merle's children from his previous marriage, and a loyal friend who stood by him through thick and thin. Even after their divorce in 1978, their bond remained unbreakable, with Bonnie continuing to harmonize with Merle on stage until her passing in 2006. Merle Haggard's heart was a restless wanderer, always searching for its next haven. After his split from Bonnie Owens in 1978, he found solace in the arms of Leona Williams at 41. But their love story was short-lived. They argued most of the time, ending in divorce just 5 years later. Undeterred, Merle's heart kept on dancing, leading him to Debbie Parrott in 1985 at the age of 48. However, their love song fizzled out by 1991. Consumed by regret, he pointed the finger at himself, confessing, "I was living life in the fast lane, partying like there was no tomorrow. I'd scrapped all my commitments and was likely numbing the pain with a haze of pot smoke, nicotine, and whiskey-fueled nights," courtesy of George Dickel. But Merle's belief in love never wavered, and he found his forever harmony with Teresa Ann Lane on September 11, 1993, at 56. Their romance began when her mother nudged her to attend one of Haggard's concerts, where she caught the eye of his guitarist, Clint Strong. But it was Haggard who was truly smitten, and he asked Strong to fetch his guitar, only to disappear with Teresa into the privacy of his room, leaving Strong banging on the door in vain. That chance encounter sparked a love that would last a lifetime, as they went on to build a life together. They composed a beautiful duet, welcoming two precious notes, Janessa and Ben, into their family melody, weathering life's ups and downs until Haggard's passing. Merle Haggard's 4 failed marriages and tangled web of love affairs mirrored the turmoil within, as personal demons and addiction threatened to silence the iconic voice that defined country music. Hooked. Merle's struggle with substance abuse. Merle Haggard's life was a roller coaster of vices and virtues. From a tender age, cigarettes were his constant companion, a habit he couldn't shake until he was 53. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. A decades-long battle with depression led him to Valium, and later, a doctor's suggestion to trade it for marijuana. He took his first toke at 41 and never looked back until he hit rock bottom in 1983, blowing $2,000 on cocaine and partying like there was no tomorrow. But 5 months of excess was his wake-up call, and he quit cold turkey. He ditched cigarettes in 1991 and marijuana in 1995, but a lung cancer diagnosis in 2008 made him swear off weed for good. Or so he thought. In a shocking confession to Rolling Stone in 2009, the 71-year-old icon admitted he'd relapsed, proving that old habits die hard. In the pages of his memoir, My House of Memories, Merle Haggard bravely confronted the demons of his past, evoking a torrent of raw emotion as he recounted his harrowing struggle with addiction. With unflinching candor, he shared his story, a cautionary tale of excess and regret, not only to unburden his own conscience, but also to arm his children with the truth. "I'm laying my soul bare," he confessed, "knowing my kids will read these words and understand the ravages of addiction. Haggard grasped the weight of his revelations, but his desire for transparency and his hope of sparing his children from the same pitfalls drove him to expose the darkest corners of his life. "My kids know I'll never sugarcoat the truth," he affirmed. Merle Haggard's downward spiral didn't end with addiction. His demons had only just begun to surface, culminating in a 1992 bankruptcy filing that exposed the devastating depth of his struggles. Substance addiction wasn't the only thing Merle Haggard struggled with. Financial woes emerged as a formidable foe, culminating in a bankruptcy filing in 1992 that struck like a double-edged sword. The timing couldn't have been more devastating. On the very same day, his fifth wife, Teresa Ann Lane, gave birth to their son, Ben, a joyous occasion eclipsed by the dark shadow of financial ruin. This jarring irony forced Haggard to confront the harsh realities of his life and career, shattering his illusions of invincibility. The bankruptcy served as a stark wake-up call, humbling the music icon and compelling him to reassess his approach to fame, fortune, and family. As he picked up the pieces, Haggard came to realize that success is a fragile flame, vulnerable to the winds of misfortune, and that wisdom lies in tending to it with prudent care. The last note: Merle's battle with mortality. Merle Haggard's health was a ticking time bomb, waiting to unleash its fury. In 1995, he underwent angioplasty to clear the traffic jam in his arteries, buying himself a temporary reprieve. But the Big C was lurking in the shadows, striking in May 2008 with a lung cancer diagnosis that left him breathless. On November 3rd, surgeons removed part of his lung, and just 5 days later, Haggard was back home, his spirit unbroken. Defying the odds, he strapped on his guitar and hit the stage in Bakersfield just 2 months later, proving that the show must go on. But the road to recovery was long and winding, with a pneumonia pit stop in December 2015 that forced him to reschedule several shows. Still, Haggard persevered, his love for music and performing driving him forward until the very end. Merle Haggard's health took a devastating turn in March 2016. When he was hospitalized once more, his body was weakened by the relentless grip of double pneumonia. As the illness continued its merciless hold, his April concerts were scrapped, a poignant reminder that even the toughest of country legends can fall prey to mortality's cruel hand. And then, on the morning of his 79th birthday, April 6, 2016, Haggard's iconic voice was silenced forever, his life slipping away at his Palo Cedro home, a victim of pneumonia's unyielding grasp. In a private farewell, Haggard was laid to rest on his ranch 3 days later, surrounded by loved ones, with longtime friend Marty Stewart officiating the ceremony, a final tribute to a life that left an indelible mark on the world of music. Though Merle Haggard's voice fell silent on April 6, 2016, his legacy reverberates on, echoing a lifetime of iconic songs, countless accolades, and an indelible mark on country music. The Merle Haggard Legacy, a lifetime of achievement. Merle Haggard's extraordinary career was adorned with a wealth of accolades, showcasing his unmatched influence in country music. Over the years, he collected numerous honors from the Academy of Country Music, the Country Music Association, and the prestigious Grammy Awards. In recognition of his songwriting genius, Haggard was inducted into the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1977, followed by his enshrinement in the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum in 1994, and the Oklahoma Music Hall of Fame in 1997. His legacy continued to grow with a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 2006 and the BMI Icon Award at the 54th Annual BMI Pop Awards, further cementing his status as a musical icon. Haggard's songwriting catalog earned him an astonishing 48 BMI Country Awards, 9 BMI Pop Awards, and 16 Millionaire honors, with his songs collectively surpassing 25 million performances. A crowning moment came on December 4, 2010, when Haggard received one of the nation's highest cultural honors, the Kennedy Center Honor. This distinguished award from the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts celebrated his lifetime achievements and indelible mark on American music and culture. The following evening in Washington, D.C., a star-studded tribute brought together country music's finest: Kris Kristofferson, Willie Nelson, Sheryl Crow, Vince Gill, Jamie Johnson, Kid Rock, Miranda Lambert, and Brad Paisley, who performed heartfelt renditions of his most beloved songs. This unforgettable night was later broadcast on CBS on December 28, 2010, introducing his remarkable legacy to millions of viewers. While Haggard's shelves overflowed with prestigious awards, it was the recognition from hometowns and local leaders that often touched the deepest chord. In July 2007, the city of Oildale, California, honored its native son by renaming a 3.5-mile stretch of 7th Standard Road to Merle Haggard Drive. This road, stretching from North Chester Avenue to U.S. Route 99, now proudly bears the name of the country legend who once called this humble land home. To commemorate the moment, Haggard performed 2 benefit concerts to raise funds for updated signage, ensuring his legacy would continue to inspire generations to come. In a tribute to his humble beginnings, the boxcar that once served as the Haggard family's home was relocated in 2015 to the Kern County Museum, where it was lovingly restored and preserved as a symbol of his roots. The accolades didn't stop there. In 2013, after a sold-out concert at the Patsy Cline Theater, Haggard was awarded the Key to the City by the mayor of Winchester, Virginia, in a heartfelt tribute to his contributions to music. That same year, on June 14th, California State University, Bakersfield, awarded him an honorary Doctor of Fine Arts degree. Ever humble, Haggard accepted with grace, saying, "Thank you. It's nice to be noticed." In 2014, he once again took the Grammy stage, performing his iconic Okie from Muskogee alongside Kris Kristofferson, Willie Nelson, and Blake Shelton at the 56th Annual Grammy Awards, a testament to his enduring relevance. Even in the years following his passing, his influence remained unshaken. In 2023, Rolling Stone honored him by ranking him number 138 on its list of the 200 greatest singers of all time. Beyond the world of country music, Haggard also left his mark on television. In Season 5, Episode 3 of the beloved series The Waltons, titled The Comeback, he delivered a poignant performance as Red Turner, a talented musician haunted by the loss of his son. The storyline, echoing deep emotional themes, mirrored the grief of Ron Howard's character in the equally touching episode The Gift, resonating deeply with audiences across America. Merle Haggard's life story is one of redemption, rebellion, and raw authenticity, a legacy rooted in resilience and talent. From prison bars to country stages, from humble boxcars to national honors, Haggard remains a towering figure in American music history, a true original whose spirit will forever echo through the soul of country music. Thanks for tuning in. Let us know what you thought of this video by leaving a like and a comment. And if you're craving more, click on the next video to keep the good stuff coming.